Today we're talking about our new BRN-10 rifles. At SHOT Show we announced, of course, our retro line of rifles. We had some AR-15s, and we also announced the 308 rifles. These are inspired by the original Armalite AR-10 design, and they share, the main thing is the trigger style charging handle under the carry handle. So today I'm going to go through an overview of both rifles, the BRN-10A and the B. And then I'll also answer any questions you have. So shoot us comments below, and I'll answer those as we get to them. I'll answer as many as I can. And then if I don't get to them in the video, keep them coming and we'll respond in the comments. So we have two rifles. This one right here is the BRN-10A, and it's inspired by some of the American models, but more of the early Dutch AR-10s. And that's distinctive in the color and also the barrel profile we use, and I'll get to that in a sec. But the most distinctive thing about these rifles that people notice is obviously the receivers. Here we have the trigger style charging handle protected by the carry handle, and then we have the distinctive flat lower receiver. So really your operation's the same as a standard AR-15 or 308 AR or AR-10, but charging handle's up here. So to operate, simply operate it like that, and you can see I can lock it open just as I would on a standard AR-15. It'll lock back. Charging handle does protrude out the back, much like the original AR-10s. And then to simply release it, you'd operate it just like you would a normal AR-15. So you can release it like that, or of course use your bolt catch. On the lower receiver, we went with this distinctive slab side design found on the original AR-10s. So when we did that, one comment we got and question we get is PMags. Unfortunately, we couldn't design this lower and have this profile and have it work with PMags. They have an angle and some ribs that just wouldn't facilitate that. However, these rifles are compatible with DPMS SR25 pattern metal magazine. So here I have a Brownells 308 magazine, and that's what the rifles will ship with. So out of the box, you get the 20-round magazine with it. I should say the receivers themselves are billet, machined from 7075 aluminum. And then on the production guns, we're going to shoot for more of a matte gray, or yeah, more matte gray finish. You'll also notice on the receiver some of the small components. We also designed these to be as similar to the originals as possible. If you can get close on some of these, you'll see they all have horizontal serrations like the original, the takedown pins, and then also your magazine release. Take that guy out. And then your safety selector also has the hole like the original. I'll go to the other side, and you'll see that the bolt catch has the same design, horizontal serrations, much like the original, and then your safety selector too. So little details like that on the receivers. Let's see. On the bolt carrier group, you'll notice we went with an all chrome component. It is a DPMS SR25 style bolt carrier group, hard chrome, but we went with nice flat angles on the side to replicate that early design. I'll take that out here in a sec. Furniture on the A is this brown polymer. This guy up here is a prototype. Production parts will fit a bit better and will match the color a bit more closely. You can see up on the handguard, we replicated that original Sudanese or Cuban style handguard. I should say these do attach like a modern AR-15, so they have a slip ring and attach like a drop-in handguard. These are compatible with standard DPMS SR25 style handguards, so if you want to put a free float on this, do something crazy, that will work. Barrel itself, on the A is a fluted model, 308 Winchester. They are nitrided, and then they get a black oxide finish, and that gives it kind of that old school 50s manganese phosphate look to it. And then up front, we've got a 3-prong flash hider. This one's actually designed after original Dutch flash hider. We actually found some old prints, and that's mirrored almost identically to that original Dutch flash hider. So that's pretty much the BRN-10A. That covers this model. I'll get to the barrels and the internals once I cover the BRN-10B. So again, we are live, so if you have questions, shoot them our way in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the BRN-10 series of 308 retro rifles. So the main differences between the A and the B, you'll notice right out of the gate, is the furniture. We went with a black furniture set on this, so it's very representative or similar to late AR-10 models, made like a Cuban model. And the other differences are the barrel profile. This one has a lightweight barrel, and then it has a closed prong flash hider, kind of what was found on the Portuguese style muzzle devices that went over the barrel. So closed prong designed with the inspiration from those guns. The barrel is lightweight. The B here weighs about 8 pounds. So this is, I would say, one of the lightest .308 battle rifles you can get with a barrel that length. So 20-inch barrel, .308 Winchester, weighing in about 8 pounds. The A has a heavy fluted barrel, and it weighs right in about 9 pounds. So Joseph asks, what about elevation on rear sight? Is this original? Good question, Joseph. I skipped right over that. So the rear sight assembly we designed with inspiration from the original design. It's similar. So what we did is we took an A2 drum, and then we used the original style adjustment, or very similar adjustment for windage. So for elevation, the production guns will have a bit bigger window here, so you can actually view the current elevation setting in the back. So that'll be cut out a bit more. And then your elevation you simply adjust with the rear sight drum. So it is matched to an A2 elevation post, so your ballistics are going to be the same as that. 5.56 and .308 are very close. So simply rotate it around with your elevation. As far as windage goes, to adjust, there's a hole right here on top. You insert an Allen wrench, loosen the set screw inside, and this one's actually pre-loosened. I can move my rear sight left to right for windage, if I can get in there. You can see the rear sight's actually in a dovetail. So you loosen the set screw, and then you move the rear peep left to right. So pretty simple adjustment. Of course, you then retighten the set screw. That's very similar to how the originals were done. And I will stress these are prototypes, so the production one will have some line markings so you can view where you were last at with your peep. And again, this window will be opened up on the production version. Current MSRP, the A is $16.99 and the B is $15.99. The pricing difference comes from the fluted barrel on the A, and they are up for pre-order right now on Brownells.com, so check that out. We plan on shipping these spring 2018. And a few of these components, I did say a few parts are prototypes, a few parts are production components. The bolt carrier groups are production components, as are the barrel assemblies and flash hiders, buttstock grip, a lot of the small components. So the prototype components on this gun are the handguards, and then the receivers are the main things. So I'm going to go ahead and tear these apart and let you see some of the guts on these guys. I'll do that with the, I'll do it on this one first so you can see the barrels. Let's see. Of course, standard AR-15 style drop-in handguards, which can be fun to get off sometimes. So that's the barrel profile on the A, and you can see it's a nice heavy profile with some aggressive fluting. Looks really sharp. These components will be available by themselves, so if you want to purchase these barrels and do your own project, they will be available on the site once we start shipping guns. So both barrels, this is again the A fluted heavyweight .308 Winchester, nitride finish. It's a really nice barrel, good looking barrel. The barrels, I should say, are made by Faxon, and I should say too, our partners that help with this, obviously Brownells is not, we don't have a huge manufacturing facility, so we had assistance with the design on the receivers, an overall design from FM Products, great partner, and then of course Faxon on the barrel, they did those up for us. So really couldn't have done that without both those guys. So I'll move on to the B so you can get some barrel comparisons here. Forgive me if I struggle on getting handguards off on camera. I'm sure this will be super awkward. So, if any of you have ever taken off an AR-15 handguard, you know what I'm going through right now. But as you can see, standard drop-in handguard. And on this one, you see the lightweight profile. So this gun is pretty darn light, and we really wanted to follow the original inspiration for the gun to keep it as light as possible. The original guns even had a lighter profile than this. We kept a a 750 diameter up at the gas block, and then this really nice thin profile underneath. And you can see here Faxon did a great job with the engraving. They are 4150 steel. A lot of people ask that. Magnetic particle inspected, all that good stuff. And 1-in-10 twist. The question is, what is the reason you chose to keep it so close to the original? The design mindset with these rifles was to keep it as close as possible, but not making it insanely expensive. So we made as many components compatible with modern off-the-shelf designs as possible to keep the cost down and make it affordable. So with working within those parameters, design as much as closely as possible to the original. So the receiver set is compatible with the DPMS pattern, barrel assembly, bolt carrier group, AR-15 stock, AR-15 trigger group. And of course, people wouldn't want these if they were just kind of partially there, if the profiles weren't quite right, if we strayed too far. So people that will be interested in these are obviously historically minded and want them for that reason, and also a gun to shoot. Original AR-10s, semi-autos that are built off parts kits routinely run for well over $5,000, whereas these are well below $2,000. So very affordable in that regard, and something you can actually go out and shoot and not worry about destroying a piece of history. George asks, are these New York compliant? I'm not up to speed on New York regulations, but I'm going to say no. I believe we'd probably have to sell them with some stock, or modified pistol grip, and that sort of thing. So I don't know offhand. We'll look into it though. But out of the gate, I'm going to say no. I'm not 100% on that. Ty asks, so you just said it's chambered for .308 Winchester. Will these rifles be safe to shoot 7.62 by 51 NATO since it's a hotter round? So we actually chambered them in .308 Winchester because 7.62 by 51 ammo is safe to shoot in them. It's kind of the opposite of 5.56 and 223. So .308 Winchester, you're good to go to shoot 7.62 by 51, like Lake City Federal in these rifles, or any commercial .308 Winchester as well. So it's shootable for a wide range of ammunition. And then the 1-in-10 twist, it's a common twist rate. It's going to be suitable for pretty much any ammunition you're going to run into. So those are the barrel profiles anyways. I'll go ahead and take the guts out. Again, we are live, so if you have questions on the Brownells BRN-10 series of rifles, go ahead and shoot them over in the comments below, and I'll address them on camera, or Brownells will address them after the video has posted and ended. So I'll go ahead and take it apart real quick. Not going to be anything shocking to anybody that's taken apart an AR-15. So it's got standard takedown pins, and then unhinges just like this. I'm actually going to separate the upper and lower halves. If they cooperate. There we go. So lower receiver, you can get a real good picture of just how the lower looks by itself. Again, we were inspired by that original design, so we've got this angle back here. I will say the components will be available later down the road. The receivers as a set, so you'll be able to purchase the lower receiver and upper receiver together. We're not going to sell them individually because they're not going to be compatible with other items out there. Really, otherwise, this is a standard .308 lower, standard .308 buffer. You have your takedown pins. These are proprietary. This lower is a bit thinner than most to get this profile. We did chamfer this a bit, so it does have a bit of a magwell opening. FM Products did a good job opening that up. And then AR-15 style components in the trigger group. So that's the lower. Then on the upper, you of course have your trigger style charging handle. To disassemble, you simply, like any other AR-15, you pull the charging handle to the rear and then plop out your bolt carrier group. So here you can get an idea of how we designed the bolt carrier group. So all hard chrome, the classic specs that you would like to see from a bolt carrier group, so 8620 on the carrier, 9310 on the bolt, magnetic particle inspected. You can see how we went with the flat sides on it, and then we've got this tail at the end, which has these enlarged radiuses. That kind of helps with anti-tilt, but also is aesthetically very similar to the originals. And then to take the charging handle out, this is a bit different. You pull it fully to the rear, and then there's a disengagement notch, like a standard AR-15 or 308 AR, and then it comes out the bottom. Main reason is that trigger style charging handle simply won't get out the rear. There's no room for it. So will the front sight base be changed? Since the original is more skinnier, and this is more of okay, so gentleman's asking about the front sight base. This is the production front sight base. This is going to be on our production BRN-10 rifles. We've gotten a lot of questions on, hey, are you going to do a more original style front sight base? I would say down the road, we'd definitely love to. But out of the gate, this is what we're going to roll out with. And again, to keep it reasonable. So down the road, it's a good possibility, but this is what's going to be on the production models right there. And it is a non-F marked front sight base with a 750 diameter, and of course pinned in place. So that's the, I'm going to go back to the bulk carrier group, and hopefully we can get some close-ups on it. You can see here, you can really get an image of how we did the sides on this. It is a light bulk carrier group too. It's a little bit lighter than a standard DPMS, mainly because we shaved off the sides, then the tail is reduced a bit in diameter. So Rick asks, what kind of trigger pull do they have? They got a military style trigger. So if you're familiar with an AR-15 military style trigger, that's what they have. So it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 7, 8 pounds. So, but they are also compatible with standard AR-15, 308 AR triggers, so you can drop in a Timney, Geisley, whatever you'd like. Yep. Brian asked, does it use LR308 style magazines? Yes. So it'll use DPMS pattern box magazines, metal magazines, not compatible with PMags. So you can see here, compatible with those. I will say we've gotten a lot of questions on compatibility with the original waffle mag, or are we going to ship them with a waffle mag? And one is no, it's not compatible with the original. The exterior design is the same, but the notch placement stuff are a little bit different. So you can insert it, but it won't latch in place. And out of the gate, we unfortunately don't have these. We are definitely looking into it, especially based on the number of requests. But stamping aluminum is not really like a simple thing you just go out and do, and it's cheap. It's actually quite expensive endeavor and complicated. So we're looking into it, but out of the gate, no waffle mags, unfortunately. I got a question, why not compatible with PMags? And it really has to do with us wanting to keep this lower receiver profile. So the original designs are basically flat from the trigger guard forward. In order to make it compatible with a PMag, which is based on modern DPMS pattern rifles, they have a slight angle to them that goes up, and the PMag follows that. And there's a raised portion, so when you go to insert it, it would be blocked on that radius, or that ridge on the PMag. So nothing against PMags, awesome mags, but to keep this original design intent, we couldn't do it, and there's just not enough thickness in these walls to remove material on the inside to make that happen. We did really want to do that, but it just didn't quite work out. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see, so otherwise they are functional in the same regard as a standard DPMS pattern 308 or AR-15. So if you're familiar with the design, it's very similar. Let me go back to the charging handle. I didn't hit on that too much, and maybe some of you will be interested in how this works. It's retained in the lower receiver since there's no external latch. We do have this mechanism that has a pin that raises up and catches inside the upper receiver. So there's a spring, and then this piece is held in place with a roll pin, and that'll keep the charging handle in place while firing. I don't know if you can see it up in here, but let's see, right here there's a cutout. And I will say these are prototypes, so if you see machine marks, that's why we are fitting them. So it inserts just like this, and you'll hear it maybe latch in place. And then I have to break that recess to unlock the charger handle. So that's how that functions right there. So I'll go ahead and reassemble this guy. Like I said, much like a standard AR-15 or DPMS pattern rifle. Let's see. Yeah, and I haven't done a whole lot of operating the rifles. They're pretty much, you know, the same as anything else, and you can lock it back pretty much just like anything else. So operate the charging handle, use your bolt release, and you can also use the bolt release to let it go. One thing you don't want to do with these rifles is when you're operating it, you do have to be mindful of this, so don't put your hand in here then hit the bolt release. It's not too bad, but it's definitely not pleasant. So that's just general operation of the rifle. Do you have upper, lower vise armors blocks that will fit for maintenance? So out of the gate, we don't have, say, like the clamshell style. What we're going to recommend is either the DPMS pattern vise blocks that you basically insert the pins into so you can clasp the upper receiver, or use, say, a Geisy reaction rod style device up the center to perform maintenance, install barrels. You could also clamp the barrel in a vise and do it in reverse. So out of the gate, those are going to be the type of things we recommend. It is compatible with DPMS pattern magazines, so you can use those magazine blocks to do maintenance on the lower receiver. I should say buffer tube assembly, standard AR-15, the buffer and spring are DPMS pattern 308 buffer and spring. The stock here, I should comment on that. This is our retro buttstock, so a Type D M16 stock is on this with the early style sling swivel. So hopefully that answers the question on the tools. One thing I didn't note, but it also has a rifle length gas system, so should be pretty soft shooting guns in that regard, so a lot of time for that gun to operate. It should make for a soft cycling gun. Let's see, I'll go ahead and throw handguards back on these so everybody can get a clear picture. We are live on Facebook. If you have questions, go ahead and shoot them our way in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them on the Brownells BRN-10 series of rifles. I've shown a lot of that side of the gun. Probably haven't seen a whole lot of this side. We do get some questions on the roll marks. We try to keep those as simple as possible. I don't know if we can zoom in on the roll marks or not. But we try to make them not very obnoxious and as clean as possible. So they basically say Brownells Incorporated, BRN-10, and then below you'll have an engraved 7.62 by 51 millimeter, and then the serial number. So very clean, not much on the side. I should say they are marked safe semi, Montezuma, Iowa, right there. And then the entire right side of the receiver is blank. So nothing on this side, just keeping it as simple as possible and as close to the originals as possible. So Ronti asks, how hard would it be to make the front sight base more original? Yeah, you'd have to have one manufactured. That would probably be the main thing. And again, it's something we're looking at, but out of the gate, these are going to be the front sight bases that ship on the gun. So definitely something you could do aftermarket. These are standard 750 diameter barrels. I'm sure there will be guys doing that out of the gate. So let me throw the handguards back on here. Again, standard AR-15 drop-in style handguards. And these are prototype handguards here. So if you see some paint and that sort of thing, that's why. And also fitment. So that'll be cleaned up on the originals. So we did go with the original styling. Let's see. So they have these contours and then they have the 6 holes up front on them. So again, rifle length handguards on those. They'll be, I should say the rifles are going to be available in brown like this and then black. We also have the green that you see on the 601. You'll see that for this handguard as well on the website if you want to buy that individually. So current MSRP for these guns, $16.99 for the BRN-10A and $15.99 for the BRN-10B, the lightweight model. So $15.99 and $16.99, which given where most 308 ARs are priced, we think that's pretty reasonable, especially for all the R&D and then the design we did on this. These are also machined from billet, so there's a lot of machining going on here. Pretty well made, coming from billet. It's pretty amazing what you can do with modern manufacturing to get these rounded contours. Will there be more retro rifles or variants in the future? Absolutely. We're committed to the retro line of products. You'll see more BRN-10 models as well as AR-15 models. I think the question is maybe hinting at what are those. I can't disclose that just yet, but we are definitely working on some more to release later this year. So stay tuned on that. So definitely committed to the line though. So if you're just tuning in, we've got the BRN-10A right here. These are our new 308 pattern retro rifles inspired by the original Armalite AR-10. If you have any questions, shoot them our way. I think we're probably going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. But if you have any questions or say you missed the live stream, go ahead and shoot the questions down below. So again, we're shooting for spring 2018 on these guys. And really pretty excited about it. Seems to be some pretty good interest. Check out some of our SHOT Show videos as well. We have quite a few on our YouTube page. There's some other great ones out there on YouTube as well to get some more info on these guns. We'll be posting up some info here regularly with updates, hopefully some soon at the range shooting these rifles, and keeping you posted on when they're going to ship. So BRN-10 series of retro rifles from Brownells. We have one more question squeak in. Scope mounts. That's a good question. The original AR-10 had kind of a internal claw mechanism that went into the mount. Nobody's making those scopes anymore, so we didn't really see the need to match that. Nor did we feel it was probably going to be a gun people put a lot of optics on. So out of the gate, you'll see there's no hole like you see on an AR-15. We didn't want to do the AR-15 style mount because there's no room to have it protrude through the bottom here with the charging handle. So out of the gate, there's no scope mounting mechanism. Perhaps we'll see people come up with aftermarket mounts, but out of the gate, no scope mount for the BRN-10 series rifle. They are very nice iron sight rifles to shoot. So that's the BRN-10 series of rifles. We got the A and the B. Check them out on brownells.com. We got lots of info there. Again, if you have questions, shoot them our way. We're pretty excited about it, and we'll answer those questions the best we can. So stay tuned. We'll have lots of info coming on these and new models in 2018. Thanks, everybody.